Hello everyone, thank you for joining my session. The topic of this session is GameFi across massive games. Let me just start off with a short introduction about myself. My name is Woojune Chung and I currently work for WEMADE. Before joining WEMADE, I participated in developing several MMORPGs such as Kingdom of the Winds, RPG, and Civilization Online. I also founded a startup company and released several mobile games, and sometimes have switched my roles between engineer and director. Finally, I joined WEMADE as a technical director as well as backend engineer to develop blockchain games on the Wemix platform. I'm very grateful to be able to introduce you to our company's accomplishments with blockchain technology in the gaming industry. GameFi. I assume many of you may have heard of the term DeFi. However, as our foundation is within the gaming industry, let's change this term into a more gaming-friendly concept. DeFi stands for Decentralized Finance. We can earn interest in return for staking our cryptocurrencies in major cryptocurrency trading markets. It's quite common these days. For the gaming industry, some game developers have frontiered the term GameFi, which refers to decentralized games with economic incentives. All DeFi transactions are token-based transactions. This map shows that GameFi transactions occur through multiple layers. The bottom layer, the metaverse, is the game world. Players can earn your typical game tokens such as gold, gems, or whatever. And they can also collect useful game items like armors, weapons, or treasure chests in role-playing games. Next, since the relatively recent emergence of NFT markets, we are beginning to see the cryptoverse. For example, there are millions of tradable NFT items on the NFT market, OpenSea. In the cryptoverse, we can buy or sell NFT items with fungible tokens on the same chain. In addition to this, cryptoverse and metaverse can now communicate to each other with token bridging. By attaching sidechains to the mainnet, we can bridge those chains and transfer fungible tokens or non-fungible tokens to the destination chain we want. It means we can trade metaverse items or tokens with FT on the cryptoverse, or even convert them into NFTs. Finally, the cryptoverse and universe where we live are strongly bounded by cryptocurrency trading markets. Binance, Huobi, Bitsum, and many other major markets are ready for trading cryptocurrencies with fiat currency. By connecting these worlds from the metaverse to the universe, players can expand their valued in-game experience to the outer game world. I'll explain later in this session why we separated the environment of crypto games into 3 layers and the roles of each layer. However, we have several problems of not only developing, but also operating blockchain-based games. First of all, many players are exposed to the scam tokens. The violators are just trying to pre-sell NFTs even though they have no playable bids. Second, the releasing of a product can't guarantee the value of FT or NFTs. If the game service is shut down for any reason, the FT and NFT rooted on the game will be devalued. There is no point in investing in them at all. Third, FT or NFT rooted in just one game are not as useful, which leads to the final issue, the limitations of a token economy. If we can find a way to expand the usability of FT beyond individual games, the merit of investing in a specific token is not that high. That's why the Wemix team is working to make Wemix be an integrated platform. The Wemix team defines hierarchical chains as the solution for the problems when developing and operating cryptocurrency-based games. We provide one public token, which is tradable with fiat currency. The public coin works as the key currency, and we named ours the Wemix token. Along with the Wemix token, there will be various service tokens on the side chains. Those service tokens can be tradable with the public token Wemix on the trade chain. For this, we had to develop hierarchical chains including public, trade, and service chains. Before we look into how each chain works to communicate with one another, let's see what GameFi services we've developed so far. Now I'd like to introduce you to the GameFi services we provide on the Wemix platform. The first GameFi service to introduce is Character NFT. Let me explain it with an introduction video. Non-fungible token is a unique and non-interchangeable immutable data stored on a distributed ledger, commonly known as blockchain. Character NFT allows you to tokenize your very own meaningful characters into a unique non-fungible asset. Tokenized characters are unbound from their game account and truly become assets existing on the blockchain. All character data, which makes the character unique in the first place, will be stored on a distributed ledger, Wemix. Character NFT grants you true ownership over your game character. In addition to this, tokenized characters can be purchased, sold, or traded with Wemix credits through Wemix Wallet. The transaction process is fully decentralized, transferring power and authority to players. Anyone can make character NFTs as long as your meaningful character is level 60 or above, and its power score is higher than 100,000. Once these minimum requirements are met, you can access the NFT minting option available through the global map. Minting your character will tokenize and store all of its unique data related onto the distributed ledger. Once your character is tokenized, all of its data will be securely saved on the blockchain, and it will still be playable in the game. However, in order to trade your tokenized character through the decentralized trading platform or Wemix, the tokenized character must first be sealed. You have to seal the tokenized character and which will include power score, equipment, skills, and spirits, among with other character-bound stats. Upon sealing the tokenized character, it will immediately become tradable through the Wemix wallet. Now let's take a look at how these character NFTs are traded. Once you've sealed your tokenized character, you'll be able to locate it in your Wemix wallet and register its price to proceed with the sales listing. Furthermore, you will also be able to search through numerous character NFTs listed by other players in the NFT menu and view comprehensive character details through the NFT page at xdraco.com. The next GameFi service is EXD, which means Exchange by xDraco. xDraco are valuable game items available in our MMORPG Mirage, and all xDracos are exchangeable with fungible tokens named Draco. In short, you can buy xDraco with Draco. Let me show you a video clip for more information. In order to understand the EXD service, we have to understand what xDraco is first. xDraco items each possess their own serial numbers that do not change so long as the item exists. It is truly making them unique, unlike regular in-game items. X-Draco items can be traded through either the in-game market or through the EXD, which is a specially designed trading platform available to all Mirror players. Currently, there are two ways to obtain X-Draco items. The first way to obtain X-Draco items is through just gameplay. Players have a chance to obtain X-Draco items through crafting, combining, unsealing, or just defeating boss monsters and looting their treasure chest. However, high-grade X-Draco items are quite rare and will not be so easy to obtain. Second way to obtain X-Draco items is through the Draco staking program. You can participate in DSP rounds for a chance to win X-Draco items. Now let's move on to EXD, which stands for Exchanged by Draco. EXD is a place where players can gather to trade their X-Draco items using Dracos. In short, EXD is a dedicated X-Draco trading platform. Let's take a closer look at how players can list their X-Draco items in order to sell them through EXD. Players can choose the X-Draco item they would like to list and seal it. Sealing the item will automatically move it to the X-Draco warehouse. Then they would access EXD at xdraco.com and log in with their Mirror account linked with their Wemix wallet. Once you're logged in, you can select to seal the X-Draco item and register each price to proceed with listing the item. Players can decide to take their listed item from the exchange at any given time as long as the items are not being processed for sale. This time, let's take a look at how the process takes place from the perspective of the buyer. Head to xdraco.com exchange and log in with your Mirror account that's linked with your Wemix wallet. Browse through the listed items and select the one you'd like to purchase. Check each price and click the purchase button. Once a QR code pops up, scan the QR code using your mobile Wemix wallet app and proceed with the transaction to complete your purchase. The X-Draco item you've purchased can be collected from your X-Draco warehouse. One of the main aspects we wanted to focus on during the development planning phase was to provide the users with an intuitive and convenient trading experience. Now I'm gonna explain one of the more complex GameFi services we offer, which is DSP, or Draco Staking Program. Draco is the service token which can be exchanged with Darksteel, which is a game token in Mirror. If players have spare Draco in their wallets, we can say it's a loss of opportunity to invest capital. We don't hold our fiat currency like dollars in our wallet if it's not a small amount. Instead, we save that money into our bank account to get interest or invest somewhere else such as the stock market or foreign exchange or corporate bonds. To that point, just leaving cryptocurrency in a wallet without any use of it may be a loss of opportunity for investment. That's why we developed the Draco Staking Program. Let's review the details of the Draco Staking Program. All Mirror players that possess Draco may participate in multiple staking rounds as long as they possess the minimum required number of Dracos per staking round. There are various staking rounds associated with different X-Draco items available through the DSP. And the minimum stake and staking duration varies depending on the rarity of the prize item. Draco Staking Program is a unique no-loss staking system that allows everyone to win. Draco holders can decide on one or more active staking rounds to become a participant with a chance to win the draw at the end of the staking round schedule. The winning odds for each staking round is formulated through a fair time staking algorithm based on the number of Dracos staked and for how long it had been staked for. Your winning odds will increase if you stake a higher number of Draco out of the total number of staked Dracos in a specific round. In addition, staking your Draco early will yield increased winning hours compared to short-term staking. For instance, participants who staked 50 Draco on day 1 will have a higher winning hours compared to those who staked the same amount of Dracos on day 2. Once the staking round has completed, a winner will be drawn, and the amount of Draco staked by the winner will be collected by the system in full. And the X Draco prize item can be obtained through the in-game mailbox. All other participants in the same staking round that did not win the X Draco prize item will be refunded 100% of their staked Draco. In addition to the 100% refund, the total number of Dracos collected from the winner in exchange for the X Draco prize item will be proportionately distributed to all non-winning participants as a staking participation bonus. Whether you win the X Draco item through the draw or receive additional Dracos through the staking participation, everyone becomes a winner in DSP. That was Draco staking program. Okay, we have seen GameFi services on the Wemix platform so far. Now let's have a closer look into the advanced staking program that we developed. Let me first explain the general staking mechanisms and the limitations of it. Staking cryptocurrencies is somewhat similar to depositing your money into the bank. Why do you stake cryptocurrency? It's to earn rewards, like expecting interest on the principal. Then, how can you obtain benefits by staking cryptocurrencies into the blockchain? Unlike traditional banks, staked or deposited capital is not used for simply lending it elsewhere with a higher interest. Instead, blockchain networks use the staked crypto to validate all transactions occurring on the network. Staked crypto becomes part of that validation process, and the crypto staking holders get rewards in return for that process. Nevertheless, there is a risk in the process of staking cryptocurrencies. When you stake your cryptocurrencies into the blockchain, staked crypto can be transferred for a certain period of time. It means staking and unlocking activities are restricted. We call that immovable period vesting or lockup period. In general, cryptocurrencies are likely to shift their price faster than the stock market or foreign exchange. So, players can trade staked tokens during the vesting period, even if the cryptocurrency's price drastically shifts. For that reason, investors may be exposed to the vulnerability of price volatility. Therefore, we decided to make an advanced staking program. These are our goals. First, participants can stake anytime they want. Second, participants can freely unstake their deposited ERC20 tokens without a lockup period. Last, as a result of participating in the staking program, all participants will be able to get rewards which fairly reflect their contribution level. To achieve those goals, we developed a unique calculation and distribution model specially designed for the Wemix staking program. With the calculation and distribution model, we can provide yield farming services. The participants of our yield farming service can stake their assets anytime. Moreover, they can check the amount of their cumulative staking rewards at any time. If there are available rewards, participants can claim their rewards at any time. Finally, they can withdraw their entire assets at any time as well. With these features, players can get rid of the possible risks when depositing their cryptocurrency. Now let's take a look at how it is applied in practice. HSP, or Hydra Staking Program, is our yield farming staking program. It is designed to remove the risk of a lockup period, unlike traditional methods. HSP participants can instantly join or leave the Hydra Staking Program whenever they want. I can say this program is the most player-friendly staking program available. Most of all, not only is it fair, but also transparent in terms of the reward. HSP is a stake to yield Hydra DeFi program offering newly minted bonus Hydra rewards to the staking participant. One reward Hydra will be minted for every 30 blocks generated, and all newly minted Hydra will be used as staking rewards until reaching the maximum HSP reward capacity of 1 million Hydra. All minted Hydra rewards for HSP will be shared between all participants based on their individual APR. HSP participants can stake or unstake their Hydra at any time, allowing them the freedom to incorporate strategic investment plans to yield bonus assets through staking. Participants may either choose to maintain a set number of staked Hydra to yield a passive income, or they may choose to consecutively restake their Hydra rewards back into the staking pool to gradually increase their APR for a compounded return. HSP will automatically be terminated once the total capacity of 1 million Hydra rewards have been minted and claimed by HSP participants. So, HSP is a true DeFi service providing participants with the freedom of access into the waters of a compound interest. We have also seen various aspects of staking programs. Similar to staking, swap is also a very important concept of DeFi, especially for DEX, also known as Decentralized Exchange. Let's talk about the concept of the swap and the attractive features of the Wemix swap system. Swap is like trading or exchanging. More precisely, swap means trading between two different tokens. When trading is done from one token to another, we call that execution swap. The required amount of each token are different when executing a swap, just as the exchange rate of foreign exchanges are all different. When implementing a swap system, some trade-offs must be considered. A swap system can either be centralized or decentralized. As CEX stands for Traditional Centralized Exchange, many traditional exchanging systems are centralized, such as the stock market or the foreign exchange. In the cryptocurrency environment, lots of big trading markets such as Binance, Coinbase, and Kraken are also using centralized exchanges. CEX has quick transaction speed, user-friendly UI, high level of liquidity, and the ability of exchanging to fiat currency. On the contrary, DEX stands for Decentralized Exchange. Unlike the traditional centralized system, DEX has notable pros and cons. The advantages of using DEX are mostly related to the decentralized environment itself. Excuse me. DEX guarantees privacy and anonymity. DEX doesn't require the private key of the users, so hackers can't access the user's assets at all. DEX trading markets can enlist brand new tokens before those tokens are enlisted on CEX markets. In addition, we can adapt traditional order books or liquidity pools to contract a transaction. One of the problems with the order book system when using it on a blockchain is the possibility of the huge cost of transactions. If liquidity is low, a trading order with high volumes requires multiple transactions throughout several price ranges, which means one trading order may cause multiple transactions on the blockchain, and it results in a high cost of gas fees for those transactions. Each interaction with the order book requires gas fees, which makes it much more expensive to execute trades. To cut off this type of redundant gas fee and to take advantage of DEX, we adapted liquidity pools with the DEX system. On the Wemix platform, there are enough liquidity pools to trade each service token to Wemix tokens. Each liquidity pool is a trading venue for a pair of service tokens and Wemix tokens. That's why each pool should have pairs of tokens, not just one kind of token. In order to operate liquidity pools, there needs to be two participants, the liquidity provider and the trader. The pool's liquidity is solely dependent on the influx of tokens from liquidity providers. As a result of staking to the pool, LP can receive liquidity shares, also known as pool tokens. We'll see what the pool token is on the next slide. If traders want to trade one token for another, they execute a swap to fulfill smart contracts. Traders don't need to wait for the seller's order. With the pool's reserves, traders can swap instantly at the current dynamic exchange rate. There are three possible activities participants can do: deposit, withdrawal, and swap. Deposit and withdrawal are done by liquidity providers, and swap is done by traders. Liquidity pools are automatically maintained by smart contracts that hold balances of two unique tokens and enforce rules around the deposit and withdrawal. This rule is the constant product formula. When either token is withdrawn or deposited, a proportional amount of the other must be deposited or sold in order to maintain the constant. You may realize the reserves of each pair of tokens determine the level of liquidity of the pool. So, deposit is a very important activity to provide liquidity to the pool. I'll explain more on the deposit of liquidity pools. When a pool is newly created, the reserves of the pool are empty. The first liquidity provider, who deposits his or her pairs of tokens, can determine the exchange rate between the two tokens. By this initial deposit, the pool now has a certain number of each token as its reserve. In the picture, LPA deposited 100 Draco tokens and 20 Wemix tokens to the pool. In other words, he decided the exchange rate is 5-1 and deposited 20 pairs of Draco and Wemix tokens with that rate. By the result of the initial deposit, the pool gives liquidity shares back to LPA. When any LP deposits pairs of tokens, the pool matches new pool tokens as liquidity shares. Pool tokens are similar to stocks, where it stands for the number of shares each liquidity provider has in the pool. In this case, 44.72 pool tokens are now newly minted by the initial deposit, and all the minted tokens go back to LPA. As LPA is currently the only liquidity provider in the pool, he shares 100% of the liquidity shares to this pool. The volume of minted pool tokens is determined by the formula using the constant number K. K is the product number of two tokens. So in this case, K is the product of 120, so the value is 2000. Finally, the minted value is the square root of K, and thus, minted pool tokens are the square root of 2000, which becomes 44.72. After initial deposit is made, other liquidity providers can deposit their own pairs of tokens into the pool. Here is a new liquidity provider, LPB. The current exchange rate is 5-1 for Draco and Wemix token pairs. If she wants to deposit 5 Wemix tokens, 25 Draco tokens are also needed, as the deposit requires tokens in pairs. After her deposit is completed, the pool's reserves increase from 100 to 125 in Draco and from 20 to 25 in Wemix. In return for the deposit, she can get newly minted liquidity shares. By this, 11.18 pool tokens are newly minted from a smart contract and are given back to her. The total pool of tokens is now 55.9. LPA still has 44.72 pool tokens, so he has 80% of liquidity shares in the pool, while LPB has 20% of liquidity shares with 11.18 pool tokens. We need to understand that when a deposit is made, liquidity providers only have the liquidity shares instead of owning a certain number of tokens. It means the amount of each token they can receive are determined proportionately to their liquidity shares from the pool when they withdraw their assets. Now let's look at the pool from the trader's point of view. Traders can execute a swap. To execute a swap, it requires a certain amount of tokens to be exchanged for another. In this picture, The exchange rate is 5 to 1, and if the trader wants to receive one Wemix token, he needs to input 5 Draco tokens plus 0.015 Draco tokens as a trade fee. Every swap requires additional fees like this, and it increases the pool's reserves. In return for input, the trader will receive one Wemix token for this swap. The exact formula of the swap is more complex than this example, but I just wanted to simplify this concept. When the swap is done, the proportion of each token's value is shifted. In this case, the reserve of Draco is increased from 125 to 130.015, while Wemix is decreased from 25 to 24. What does that mean? The exchange rate should be changed after the swap to reflect the reserves of each token. Now it's time to explain how the exchange rate, or in other words, the token price is determined. Price curve. The price for a token to another is determined by the constant value k. The curve in this picture is drawn by the constant product formula, which concludes k by the product of x and y. X stands for the amount of Draco token, while y stands for the amount of Wemix token. As the product of the amount of Draco and Wemix tokens are always the same, if the liquidity level is the same, we easily conclude that the price is determined by the proportional rate to the product constant. At the time of T1, there were 100 Draco tokens and 20 Wemix tokens. By that, we can calculate the K value at the time of T1 as a product of 120, which is equal to 2,000. To summarize, at the time of T1, the value of K is 2,000 and the price of one Wemix is 5 Draco. When the trader executes the swap, the input and output of the swap rely on the invariant value K. At the time of T1, the invariant K is 2,000. If a trader inputs 5 Wemix token to the pool, the output Draco token is calculated by K and input value. After the swap, Wemix tokens in the reserve will increase by 5, becoming 25. As the amount of Wemix tokens in the reserves are increased, a new amount of Draco tokens has to be calculated according to the constant product formula. As K should always have the same value, we can get the amount of Draco token by dividing K with the new amount of Wemix tokens. So we can divide 2,000 by 25 to get 80. The new amount of Draco tokens in the reserve after swap now becomes 80. Through this, the output to give back to the trader is also determined. The difference between the before and after amount of Draco tokens in the reserve is 20 after subtracting 100 minus 80. The trader will receive 20 Draco tokens in return for the swap. In this example, however, I didn't include the trade fee for convenience. After trading is done, the proportional rate to the product constant will be changed and the prices for both the tokens will be changed as well. After the swap at the time of T1, the price changes to the time of T2. The amount of each token are now changed from the previous 100 to 80 Draco and 20 to 25 Wemix. So we can calculate the new price using the amount of the two tokens at the time of T2. This time, the price of one Wemix is 3.2 Draco because 80 Draco is divided by 25 Wemix. Increased liquidity reduces the price slippage for trades because the product constant gets higher. Hence, providing liquidity is essential for the pool's stable operation. That's why the pool gives rewards to the liquidity providers. Whenever liquidity is deposited into the pool, unique tokens known as pool tokens are minted and sent to the provider's address in return for their contribution to the pool. Whenever trade occurs, a predefined fee is charged to the transaction center. The fee is distributed proportionally to all LPs in the pool upon completion of the trade. There is also an attractive feature on swap called consecutive swaps. Swap is executed between just two tokens, so it's impossible to exchange one token to another unless those tokens are in a shared pool. By consecutive swaps, we can swap a specific token to the other specific token, even though those tokens are not paired. For example, token A and D are not paired tokens, and you need to get token D with your token A. Basically, you can exchange token D with your token A since those tokens are not paired within a pool. But you can do that by using the Wemix swap system. It automatically and consecutively executes swap through paired token pools. It enables swapping between tokens not directly exchangeable to each other. We will provide this feature on the new upcoming Wemix swap system. I have introduced some of the GameFi services before. Players of any games on the Wemix platform, such as Mirage, can earn service tokens through gameplay. Then, they can exchange the service token to Wemix tokens through our Wemix wallet, a token trading platform for Wemix games. It means players can ultimately get Wemix tokens after obtaining service tokens from the games they play. Wemix token is the key currency, and Wemix holders can participate in more DeFi services beyond games. Let's see what we can do with the Wemix token. Cleva is a DeFi protocol developed by WEMADE in partnership with Suho and Boko Soli. Cleva has many reserves of each token. A reserve is a pool of a specific token. Wemix holders can deposit their Wemix token to the Wemix reserve in Cleva. In this situation, we can say that Wemix holders lend their tokens to the reserve. In return for lending, the lender receives an IB token, which means interest-bearing token. With the IB token of Wemix, the lenders can withdraw their lent assets anytime with accrued interest. Lender token and receive an interest-bearing token. It's that simple. After Wemix holders receive IB tokens in return for their lending, then they can stake the IB token in staking pools. Not only the Wemix token, but also other tokens can be lent. It means other tokens are also able to be staked. Each staking pool has its own APR, annual percentage rate, each like yearly interest. With APR, stakeholders can receive the governance token Cleva for their interest in staking. With lending and staking, the token holders can receive two kinds of interest. By lending, they can receive the same token as interest, while through staking, they can receive governance tokens as interest. So, one deposit action results in two incentives. The governance token Cleva is also kind of an ERC20 token and can be used like any other valuable tokens. You can trade it with another token or lend and stake it again to the Cleva token reserve. I told you about lending and staking cases. If there is lent crypto in the pool, there should be someone to borrow it. Otherwise, there will be no interest to give back to lenders. In the Cleva protocol, we have farmers who borrow the lent crypto in each reserve. Farmers are investors of crypto. Why do they borrow cryptos? It's to get leveraged equity. Farmers may have their own equity, but they may want to leverage their equity to yield higher tokens. In this picture, a farmer borrowed three kinds of tokens from Cleva-like reserves with individual interest. With the borrowed cryptos and his own equity cryptos, he invests in two farming pools, expecting higher yield. Although it's possible to lose invested tokens in the case of depreciated tokens, all investments take some risk, and that's what all farmers know. Farmers are active investors searching for high-yield farms, while stakeholders are pursuing risk-free investment. In this scenario, we can see a service token acquired from gameplay finally being upgraded to a public token that is used for many purposes. So far, we have learned different kinds of GameFi services on the Wemix platform and the underpinning tech behind this. Let me remind you of the title of this session. It was GameFi across massive games, right? When just a single GameFi service runs for just one game, we can say that GameFi is working across massive games. So we needed to build a connection through every token economy. We'll see how we expanded the token economy to the world stage in a bit. Let's think about what the limitations of individual tokens are. First, there is the sole dependency problem. Indeed, a specific individual token is subject to the corresponding individual game. Second, trading tokens between different chains is challenging. Due to these limitations, each token economy is isolated within their fragmented ecosystems. To overcome those isolation issues of each individual token economy, the need for integration has naturally arisen. To integrate fragmented token economies into the Wemix platform, we provide hierarchical chains consisting of 3 chain layers that have each endpoint. This shows how we built hierarchical chains through the metaverse, the cryptoverse, and the universe. Each layer deploys each origin chain, which is running on each layer. And the users, like players, communicate with each layer with each endpoint. Players can handle their metaverse FT or NFTs through playing games, while they can trade their tokens on the Wemix wallet app as they enter the cryptoverse. Finally, they can exchange their Wemix tokens to fiat money of the real world, which is our universe, existing on any trading markets. The main reasons for separating these layers is economic efficiency and the speed of transactions. If all transactions occur on the mainnet, it will cost too much gas fees and require a long response time. Therefore, we created service chains to be in charge of transactions within gameplay. Let's have a more detailed view on each layer. First, the metaverse layer is the player's first connect point when they play any of the games on Wemix. Each game service can have its own chain to operate each token economy. On this layer, one chain can map to many games. For example, Cryptonator, Galaxy Tornado, Aqua Tornado, and Bird Tornado use the same Tornado token. It is possible to scale out service chains according to the increased number of games on the Wemix platform. In terms of the operating cost, it's recommended to scale out a new service chain when there are over 100 transactions per 1 second. As you might know, a new block is created per 1 second. Using token bridge contract, all tokens on the service chain can be upgraded to tradable tokens on the trade chain. The number of tokens on these service chains are growing more and more as the new partner games are continuously onboarding to the Wemix platform. Now let's move on to the cryptoverse layer, which is led between the metaverse and the universe. In contrast to the metaverse layer, only one chain is available on the cryptoverse layer. Trade chain is responsible for all transactions of exchange between service tokens and Wemix token. To trade service tokens with Wemix tokens, end users can connect to the Wemix wallet on iOS or Android. Wemix Wallet is a native app providing full features for trading all fungible tokens on the Wemix platform, as well as NFT goods. Notable keyword on the trade chain is transaction-only token. Transaction-only token means it has a paired token on another chain. For example, the Draco token on the trade chain is a transaction-only token. And if the token is deposited on the chain, a paired Draco token will be minted on the corresponding service chain. In case of Wemix tokens, a new token is minted on the trade chain when the paired Wemix token is deposited on the public chain. By minting, burning, and depositing, each chain can communicate to another with their paired tokens. Finally, we got to the real-world layer, the universe. In the universe, there is the public chain, also known as the mainnet. After upgrading to the key cryptocurrency on the mainnet from the lower chains, players can trade the key currency to fiat currency, such as the US dollar or euro, or major cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum or Tether on any cryptocurrency trading markets. In this example, the key currency is the Wemix token, which has an integrated value of holding all service tokens. I am not saying that the Wemix token is much more valuable than service tokens of each game. I simply emphasize that through the Wemix token, all service tokens have a solid route to communicate with the outer world, from the metaverse to the universe. On the public chain, we have many front-end points. OKX, Bybit, Huobi, Gate.io, Upbit, Bitsum, and other various cryptocurrency trading markets are available to trade Wemix tokens. The presentation is almost over, but before I wrap up the session, I want to remind you of the GameFi services I introduced in the beginning of the session. Staking programs such as Draco staking program or Hydra staking program have attractive features on their advanced staking mechanism. Although those services are unique and attractive, we still want to do more. The Wemix team wants to provide unique staking services for not only the FT space, but also NFTs. Our mission is to serve both FT and NFT through GameFi services. That's why we recently released a brand new staking service for NFT characters in Mir4. Mirage is our first NFT DeFi service. Let's see what the new NFT DeFi is like. Mirage can be accessed through xdraco.com. The Hidden Valley Capture is a 4-week seasonal battle where each Hidden Valley has 2 harvest times scheduled for midnight and noon every day. You can participate in the Mirage Hidden Valley Capture by enlisting your character NFTs in Bichon, Snake Pit, and Redmond Hidden Valleys through the use of Vigor, an action point system used throughout the Mirage world. However, in order to be successful and yield as much dark steel as possible, you are required to consider and prepare a great deal of strategy associated with the positioning and enlisting of your character NFTs. All battles within Mirage Hidden Valley Capture are based on a unique measure known as the Mirage score. The higher Mirage score character NFTs have, the more likely they will yield a greater number of dark steel as a reward. Moreover, if a Hidden Valley Capture becomes full, other players can choose to assault the weakest character NFT in the valley to effectively remove that character and claim the nod for themselves. As the battle is processed through Mirage score, it is important to strengthen your character NFTs as much as possible. Once your enlisted character NFT has been defeated by an opponent, in addition to being removed from the Hidden Valley node, there is also a chance to become wounded, restricting the wounded character from re-entering the Hidden Valley for a set amount of time. You may choose to wait until your wounded character naturally recovers or decide to immediately restore your character status by spending Vigor and re-enlist the character into the Hidden Valley. Ultimately, the strength of your NFT character determines your position in the Mirage world. The varying Hidden Valleys of Mirage each have their own predetermined space available as well as minimum requirement for entry. There is also a server-based ranking bonus system which grants additional rewards based on your character's rank. Okay, I hope that our new service Mirage has caught your attention. Now it's time to wrap up this session. At the moment, we are continuously seeking new partners to onboard with the Wemix platform. Any game is welcome, and our Wemix team will help you to implement new GameFi services on your game. Thank you for your time and attending this session. I think I might have some spare time to answer answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
So we do have 10 minutes left of this session. I think we have time for one question for today. If you have any questions, please step up to the mic podium and we will be able to answer. If you still have other questions, you can actually meet with the speaker afterwards as well.
Hi, thank you very much for your lecture. Okay, it was super interesting. I would like to ask you, in the case that we are already a blockchain gaming developer, but in case that we have another project and we implement your technology, which is the business model that you guys have with the developer that actually develops the game?
Could you rephrase your question one more time? Your question is sure. If you can use...
If we are a gaming developer, okay, yes. And we implement your technology, okay, which is the business model that you guys have with the developer in terms of how do you make money with the work of the developer? Make sense?
So how do we make money from the works of your developer?
Exactly. Do you have a percentage of commission, fee, or something?
Do you take commission?
Exactly.
You ask me?
If we are using your technology, I assume that there must be something from your side, right?
As you know, this is a programming session, and your question is, I think, is very related to the business side.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. I will go to the booth then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, You can contact our business team if you want. Okay.
All right, with time said, we will end this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.